Hey everyone, today we talk about the downfall of society, social media. This is the Thought Arcade.
Welcome back to the Thought Arcade with your hosts Elijah, Chris, and Daniel. Yeah, we're going to get into how this social media age has changed our lives pretty much. I mean, I can think of how it's evolved in just our lifetime, just in the last couple years.
Yeah.
What is like I guess we're going to talk about more like the social networking aspect, right? Because this is stuff like MySpace, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram,
Twitter,
stuff like that. The Tweeter.
Tumblr.
Yeah. And I mean, how has it evolved for you guys? Because I have slowly gravitated away from it as I get older. That's just me.
See, I'm heading that way. My first true experience was MySpace, as I believe most of us have. And MySpace really set the precedent. And I remember one of the core memories I have of MySpace was reconnecting with you
Right.
over MySpace after we moved away and got through high school and stuff. And I found you on MySpace and we reconnected. And that's one of the pivotal moments. And that to me, that's the core essence of what social media is.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's evolved,
right?
Yeah, to me, that's what it's always proclaimed to be at its core. But now it's just involved into all of these crazy things, and I'm becoming a little more off-put by it. I think from a mental standpoint,
it sucks.
Yeah.
So your opinion, Chris, is just it sucks. It absolutely.
I don't think there is any type of benefit. I don't think there's anything that you can gain from social media, just because most of the time it's mostly filled with a bunch of ads that your FBI agent puts there for you.
Yeah.
Remember we got all those when we talked about we mentioned Match, I think, once, and then all of a sudden we're all getting these dating advertisements.
I mentioned mason jars for the wedding a couple days ago, and we went and bought them yesterday. And now I only have ads from Target about mason jars.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're watching you know.
Yeah, I was Googling video tutorials on how to build a computer, and on TikTok now, anytime I scroll up, there's always an ad on computer parts, and it's dude, get out my face.
Yeah, I think Elijah's right. I think it's awesome when you can actually connect with people. I'm away from my family, and I use that to connect with my family. It gets kind of crazy from there, and even the business aspect, I think there is some benefit to, we utilize Twitter to get this thing going and talk to people about it. But there is this other part of it where it's kind of like it's gone too far, or people get sucked into it too much, I guess.
Exactly. I think
people get sucked into it too much.
It's a principle of it's good in moderation, as with all things. And, I felt myself, especially over this last maybe 2 years, I'm getting sucked into Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't using it so much to keep up with people anymore or interact with people. But now it's just I just follow a bunch of quirky pages and some news outlets that I regret following.
Not to mention that social media and social networking is really great for memes and fails and all of the good that's what it's made for too, I guess. That's a good benefit of it.
I see that's how I'm adapting to it. Stuff with YouTube, that's my number one thing is probably fails, and just news fails compilations. And then for stuff like iFunny has sort of taken over, the sort of college humor aspects. It's iFunny, something that's taken over.
Yeah.
But I just feel there are people that are consumed with social media and like they live off their lives through how many likes can I get, how do I set up to get clickbait and stuff like that, like especially for like Instagram and Facebook, where everyone just does that off the face, just to get views.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right.
I feel like it's to overuse the word toxic. I think like for me, everyone's just sort of lying and putting out their best. It's either putting out their best life and they're just hanging out or whatever, like in Bora Bora, or they claim to have depression. Like that's that's the two sides of social media that I'm seeing nowadays. Yeah. And it's really off-putting when I'm on there just to see, like, I have a friend of mine who's in the Navy, and I kept up with a bunch of people after we graduated from college, and most of them kind of drifted off from Facebook and stuff like that. And some are still on there. I talk to them every once in a while, just checking on them. They checking on me and stuff. So, like, I feel like that aspect is great, but everything else about it, as Charlie Strong has said, it's the downfall of society.
Yeah. And you quote that a lot. I understand why he thinks that too. Yeah. I mean, when the earliest I could think of like this social media or social networking type of craze is MySpace.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all remember, like, for some reason I associate it with the same thing, like Habbo Hotel. It's like a weird little, like, you have little avatars and you're in this huge hotel and you can build your own room and go talk to people and stuff. And like MySpace was the same way. You could like decorate your page and stuff and make your mouse, like the mouse whenever you visit your page, like different and stuff like that. You could type in a bunch of codes,
upload videos and stuff.
Yeah. And it was like you were creating your representation of yourself online, and that's like the first you ever saw of that.
Yeah. Whereas Facebook is just really generic, and the only thing you can have is like your profile picture. I think it's probably what separated MySpace. It didn't make it as bad as it was put out to be. Like,
well, it's like it evolved into, so MySpace and starting out social media was literally like a representation of yourself. Like you could express yourself super, like in that kind of way. Facebook kind of like streamlined that and was just like, yeah, you know what? Forget all the glitz and glamour of, your page and all that stuff. Just express yourself emotionally and like let this be your diary, basically. Like this is every moment that you want could be on this platform. And that's, I think, where it changed completely, because then, like I said, it started becoming this thing where you just see people rant, and it's like I'm not immune to that. Like, of course, like I would rant all over Facebook or MySpace or stuff like that back then. It was just the outlet that I guess we were looking for. It's something that we were like searching.
It's kind of like you found your voice on there, and like the people that you cared about or people that cared about you would take a look at,
could see it.
It was like everybody always assumed when they had their voice that with everybody that they're connected with on MySpace or even early Facebook, they had the same opinion.
Exactly.
So they went into that, like, of course they would vent and say things, but they're always assuming, they didn't realize that other people had their own opinions. So they would be like, oh, if I say this, it's perfectly fine, because the same person is going to have my same opinion.
And then you get like affirmations, like the like thumbs up, and then the share, somebody shares what you wrote or something. And it kind of, it gives you that, I don't know. It's like, are we missing that like in our daily life, that we were searching for that online, and then that kind of instant gratification thing, like we're constantly needing affirmation from people that we know and that we like socialize with?
I think it's hardwired in ourselves of getting affirmation for us doing anything. Anything. It could be anything, though. And not just expressing yourself or talking about your day or whatever, but like, I painted this painting or whatever, or, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think like we're hardwired in our brains to get that feedback, and we treat it as positive, even though I don't think it is. And one of the worst Black Mirror episodes is in the last season, where the guy is in the car, but he kidnapped like their version of social, like Facebook's employee or whatever.
Right.
And he's
the guy
talking
from
to
that 70s show or whatever.
Yeah. And he's like, no, man, it's just a little hit of serotonin, and then you just keep wanting that, you know. And I think that's exactly what it's designed for. And that takes away and makes it horrible.
That also reminds me of that episode from Black Mirror where the entire, everyday life situation, social interaction was all based on a 5-star rating.
Oh yeah, a little social credit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it evolved into an actual social norm.
Yeah.
Or something to actually get you through. So you would have an interaction with somebody, you know, like we do online, you know, you comment on somebody's page, or you comment on somebody's video or something like that. And you could rate the interaction from 1 to 5 stars. And it's essentially at a credit rating. And so it goes even deeper too. And I mean, Black Mirror does a great job of
now. They have a freaking social credit system. It's horrible.
It's crazy. It's crazy how Black Mirror really takes that experiment that much farther. You know what I'm saying? Like this affirmation, or, you know, like it's like
it's not even affirmation. It's more like an acknowledgement or something like that. You know,
it's taking a social interaction just to that next level. Like we don't need to like everything, you know, like it's all based on. I don't know. It freaks me out thinking about it. And I mean, the only reason why I joined Facebook was when I started my band back in the day. I told myself I wasn't gonna, I remember telling you guys too. I was like, I'm not gonna get a Facebook. I don't want a Facebook. Everyone's always like pressuring you to get the face. Like, why don't you have a Facebook? You know, we're tagging you in all these pictures that I'm all over the internet, but I don't even know. Like, I don't have a page associated with me. I don't know. That's how I took it, but it's just so, I don't know, it's in the next generation is what I'm like trying to figure out.
It's social media has become that thing that's kind of just everybody's there for attention at this point now.
Yeah.
It's evolved. Like you guys were saying with that Black Mirror episode, is like they didn't only like talk about what it could become, they kind of said how it is going to be. Like they said, well, this is what's going to happen if, like, it wasn't like a weird prediction, a weird coincidence. I feel like there's kind of that correlation with them thinking like this is going to happen. Like everybody's going to be so dependent on the number of followers you have, or the number of views you have, the number of likes you have. And that's going to be almost transactional in the sense that like your value will be dependent on those followers, those likes, and those that attention that you're getting. So it's so funny, and it's only gotten worse as generations have gone by, because now with TikTok being what it is, one of the biggest social media platforms there is now, so many of those people on TikToks are just posting videos for those likes, for those, like, you have those Addison Rae, Charli D'Amelio's, those like they house a bunch of content creators. Like they are only living their life because they are constantly getting these likes, and like that's all it is to them. And I don't think it'll be sustainable for them mentally, just because I do feel like they could collapse, you know?
Yeah. And the way you went from being like, whenever we first met, you were still on Facebook and stuff. But now, like, you're like completely off of it and off of most social media. What was that transition like?
It was hard. I was constantly on Facebook, constantly on Instagram, constantly on like my personal Twitter. And, you know, I was just always just switching through those apps, and it got to the point where it was almost like instinctual, to where like if I pick up my phone, the very first thing I went to was Facebook. If I didn't see anything I wanted to see on Facebook, went to Instagram, then went to Twitter, and then recycled, you know, and until I finally like actually put the phone down. And then from then on, it was just like, it started making me feel terrible. Like you go through these things, and it's almost like you don't like to do it and you don't try to do it, but you start comparing yourself to all these other people who are doing differently. And of course, not every person is the same. Like everybody's going to have different lives, but you start to compare yourself to those people, to the lives they're living. And it's like, well, I wish I could do that too, but at this moment I can't really. And so it just got to the point where it was like very defeating and very tiring. And so I tried to go a week without it. I was able to go a week without it, then just kept making the term longer. And then after a while, I was just like, I don't even need this. I mean, I still have my accounts, like they're still open, but I don't have the apps or anything like that. Like everywhere that I had the password saved, I deleted it. So I would have to go through the hassle of going to the forget my password portion and knowing I'm not going through all that to get a password. So it's very easy to just not go on it. I think TikTok is the only thing I'm struggling with, but as of lately, it's been pretty. Actually, before this, I was on it for an hour. I'm not even gonna lie. But aside from that, like I've been pretty like decent about staying off social media.
Yeah, see, that's me. I'm reaching that point of like it's defeating for me, but like I instinctually just go and open up Facebook and just like mindlessly scroll. I
hate that, dude. That's exactly how I was too, because I couldn't stand it. I would grab my phone to put a timer on for like the washer or dryer or something like that, and my finger would click the Facebook app. I'm like, wait, that's not what I wanted. And I like back out. I'm like, dude, wait, what was I like even going to do? I was so instinctually pushing that Facebook button.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Facebook for me was actually just sharing memes with like Elijah or Emily. Like I wasn't doing anything with it. There was no other communication. I would just scroll, and I think that's why. I think this is why TikTok and stuff like Vine and stuff like that is the new norm, because all you do is you just scroll and you get something new, you get something new. It's visual stimulation. You're just getting a new video and it auto plays, and it, all you have to do is just turn on the sound sometimes. And
it's like your attention span, I think is like they relatively say like around 6 seconds, and like that's the exact length of a Vine video, and you can
don't like it,
TikTok to that.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, like 0.05 seconds, you're already to the next thing. You're already to the next thing. You're already to the next thing. And I think that's why TikTok and all that stuff is really big. And it's also very addicting. It's just because I used to do that on Facebook. And then I was just like, dude, like, and just like Chris said, like an hour or two passes by and you were just cruising Facebook and you haven't actually achieved anything. Maybe maybe I sent you, a couple memes through Facebook, like posted on your page or something like that.
Yeah.
But like we lived together and I was just like, dude, why can't I just why don't I just get the meme? I don't know. Like, let's just have actual human interactions instead of getting sucked into it so much.
Yeah.
That's kind of what also like drove me. And I'm sure most people who got off social media was just trying to be able to like interact. Cause I can be a bit awkward in person too sometimes, but trying to figure out those like interactions person to person rather than over like social media is a lot like easier to maneuver, because sometimes you can't relay like emotion or feeling within like social media posts or anything like that. So they could be saying one thing and they're emotionally feeling a different type of way than how you would interpret it.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention you can take your time replying and stuff like that too.
Yeah, also that. It's crazy how like codependent everybody is becoming on these things, and I don't feel like mentally it is the best part of it, because all you see is people are so quick to post like the more sensitive information of their lives. Like they are openly like putting this information out. And that's fine and dandy. Like if you want to do that way, then by all means, you have the right to. That's what social media is. But we're in a day and age where we have these things called trolls, and that is like something that's just a whole different beast in itself. Because you could have this great phenomenal post talking about all your achievements, and next thing you know, you could have 30 people just reply saying like you suck over and over again.
Right.
And as a society, we tend to look at the negatives rather than the positives first.
Yeah.
So of course, if like you have 5 people that say something bad and then the 6th person says something really nice, you're not even going to notice that.
Yeah.
I like how you keep alluding to the emotional aspect of it, because I've been thinking about it a lot, and I revert to the MySpace age, the beginning of that. And it was like a game, you know, it was your representation of yourself as, you know, like an avatar in a video game. You know, you get to bedazzle your page, and it's you.
You get to put a song whenever you click on the page,
song.
and it like a song playing, and like
Right.
99% of it was like Nickelback back then, you know.
Yeah, and it wasn't
Photograph.
Photograph. It wasn't as serious. It was literally a game. You could, but I think now it's becoming extremely emotionally invested.
Yeah.
There's this aspect to the way you're saying, misinterpreting different cues, like actual social cues in conversations. You can't read it a certain way, the way they're saying it. There's trolls who get off on certain reactions of people.
Yeah.
There are people that see 2 seconds of something on Facebook or on social media, and they react to it in an emotional way. Like it's like we've invested our emotions, like we're acting as if the social networking thing is our representation again. We're going back to that, but it's not a game anymore. It's like we are in it, and this is us, and I'm investing my emotions in it, like fully, type of thing. And I think you're totally like you're getting there, because I can't imagine how far that can go. You know, I've gotten away from it because I was just like a zombie just scrolling through. I didn't like posting all my stuff out there or reacting to things that people posted. I didn't like that was what I was getting into, you know?
Yeah. And it's just a terrifying, social media is a terrifying experience too. Because like people are ruthless. They are so quick to judge. Where since of course social media, it's all behind a phone, a computer, like you're behind a screen, you can say things that you wouldn't normally say face to face, and so of course that's not stopping anybody.
And then things like 4chan, I think, is that it's 4chan where like you remain completely anonymous, like you just anonymous and then like a number, and that's it, you know.
So you can, and that's the thing, you don't have a page that's all representative of yourself, and nobody can find you, and nobody can point at you and say, hey, well, it's Elijah that's saying all this. You are completely anonymous, so you can say whatever the F you want. Crazy.
And like even then people are starting, I mean, this has been a thing, but people will make like burner accounts. Even with like Facebook,
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant had a burner Twitter. Like even professional athletes have like
that's old school.
Have like burner accounts. Like people have found ways around this, like hiding their identity behind several different accounts to just the purpose of going out and just being negative towards other people,
or just hurtful. Getting into like arguments and stuff, and it like doesn't accomplish anything, you know. When you just banter back and forth. Like I remember a family friend and then a family member were both just banting back and forth on like a post that they had put up there, and it was for like days. And for some reason, like I was tagged in the post and I was just looking at it, and then they were just bickering the whole time. I was like, that doesn't accomplish anything. That, like, to me, like that's what gets me more upset than anything.
I had these friends on Facebook who were talking about something political. Like I had one friend post something about their political views. Then the next person I saw, he commented on it, but he didn't say anything. Like I said, it was just like I took it as what he said. They were just talking about it, sharing. I assume they were just sharing ideas. And the very next person, Enter Player 3, came in and he started cussing at the person who just commented and like going off on him. And the thing is they're like people I knew in high school. These two guys were like best friends.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the civil discourse for social media like doesn't exist. Like,
yeah, exactly.
it's not an online platform for that.
Yeah, when they first created it, they were probably like, "Man, this is great. We can connect people. We can be the connective tissue of the next age of social interaction." But
like we're moving
it's
on
one of the
from like
greatest,
the AOL chat rooms and stuff like that. Like this is the next evolution of it.
right? Yeah. It's a very much next step, or it's like it's the greatest social experiment that we are performing right now, basically.
Yeah.
But it is accelerating in all kinds of directions that I'm sure nobody anticipated. It's just, and I think I think that it's like people invest their emotions so much when they go into there, and that's where you also get these people who have issues, and like, say in real life bullying and stuff like that. Like, it's an outlier. Every now and then a kid will get bullied, or somebody will bully someone, or just harass somebody in some kind of way, right? They're out there. It happens. It doesn't happen as much, but it happens. Social media is bringing out those people who need some sort of emotional fixers in some kind of way in their life, and they end up putting all of those negative emotions and bullying people online, trolling people online. It's exacerbating all of these other types of people that wouldn't actually do that stuff in real life, or they're like borderline doing it in real life.
Yeah. It's so, I don't know. I just get so fed up with it, just because it's almost like other people's happiness is becoming so dependent on their attempt or their efforts to just degrade another person. Fat shaming is one of the things that's like huge. If someone will post a video, and you'll have all these comments. I see it a lot on TikTok too, which is actually just terrible. And it'll be someone posting like a fitness journey, and of course you'll have those 30 comments that are just like saying just terrible things.
Yeah.
And it's like it can be heartbreaking a bit, because like this person is not. It's not like this person.
It's so stupid, because it's like if you see someone like that, like at a gym, like that's the purpose of the gym. Like they're using the gym for what they're really supposed to be using it for. It's like, I've never seen like a phrase of like, if you did that, like, are you gonna make fun of the jobless person at a job fair?
Right.
Like it's so stupid.
It's just those people who have self-esteem issues or whatever, and they project them onto other people because they can, because there's no negative repercussions. It's just all out there on the interwebs and stuff. It's just, that's annoying, man.
Yeah, and again, with like something like TikTok, where it's just, you're expected to, again, like they have these houses built specifically for creators. And some of these rules for these houses are that you have to constantly create content.
Right.
And of course, your content and the amount of people following you, the amount of likes you get, like all that stuff is going to be dependent on whether or not, I don't know for sure. I'm making assumptions here, but it's going to depend if you're going to stay with that group and be able, be involved with them, and like constantly be able to make content, and maybe even like continue pursuing your dream and being what now is called a content creator.
Right.
But that's mentally taxing, because of the fact that now you're constantly living this life of pressure, living this life that you have to try to show other people how, like, what you're doing, what you're able to do to succeed. And then on top of that, like, this is branched out to a new profession of influencers. And they're constantly, like, the whole job of an influencer is to influence the people that follow you, influence your fans, which is also another just load of crap, to be honest.
You're like just a walking advertisement. Like you're just a walking billboard is all you are.
The thing is go even further than that, is they're promoting products that I would say that they don't even use most of the time. They are doing it for the money. They're doing it for the advertisement and paying them so much money. They'll, no matter how terrible these products can be, they'll still push it out to their audience, and it could have no relevance, and they don't even use it. But as long as, the people they influence, like, I just think being an influencer, excuse my French, but I think being an influencer is just bullshit. Like, I completely don't stand for those guys, just because of the fact that they are just out there for their own benefit.
That's why we only call on advertisements from people we believe in, like White Claw and Mountain Dew.
Yes. Yeah, we need sponsors so bad. It is imperative we get Mountain Dew and White Claw on them. No, I'm totally with you, man. Like I'm nervous for this next generation because, you know, I alluded to this before. We had this kind of pressure to get cell phones, you know, like when we were growing up. I didn't have a cell phone. I mean, I used to go skating when I was in middle school, high school, and my dad would lend me the flip phone, you know, like in case for emergencies, not to go text everybody, you know.
Yeah.
I was kind of I got my phones kind of late and all that stuff. I was introduced into technology later. And I know that the kids nowadays are, hey, do you have an Instagram? Hey, do you have a Snapchat? Like, why don't you have a Snapchat? Ask a kid nowadays what they want to be when they grow up. You know what I'm saying? They want to be a streamer or a gamer or an online influencer or a content creator. They don't want to be, you know, firefighter. They don't want to be in the STEM field. They don't want to do any of that stuff. All they see all the time is content creation and online influencers and stuff like that. And that worries me because we're talking about like mental health and where they actually need to invest their social interactions in, and all of it's coming from online. I mean, that worries the crap out of me.
Ninja
like, you know,
is worth $60 million. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I totally understand it. I mean, I would love to get paid money to play video games. That is the 0.001% of game streamers ever. Ninja, Dr. Disrespect, Shroud, all of those dudes. Yeah, FaZe Clan. I mean, they are the 0.001% of people that are doing it big and that are going to survive, you know, for a long time on that kind of thing. But there is a need for affirmation. There's a need for recognition from the online community for some reason when you're a kid, or even when you're our age too, because we feel that when we're on Facebook, we feel that when we're on TikTok, like I want to make a video, or I can do that, you know, I can make money paying YouTube and stuff like that. It's just I'm worried about the next generation because of that.
And, you know, to go off that a little bit, like when we were younger, like social media wasn't a thing at all.
Yeah.
So we didn't have access to a lot of the things that are being presented on social media, like the ads or like things that may be of use as an adult, you know. Like the things that we experienced were things for our age group, you know, like youth soccer clubs or things like that. But like social media creates this whole environment to where now kids are all of a sudden reacting to videos of, you know, of street fights, of like shootings, of, you know, bombings, things like that. Like these are things that they have access to because of social media, and that is also can be, you know, damaging for such a young mind, you know. And because again, that's not something that, like, I never saw anything like that when I was younger, because I didn't have social media. Like we didn't have good quality camera phones that could just record a video and boom, share with all your friends there's a street fight or anything like that. Like,
yeah,
if you saw it, it's because you saw it in real life. But like that's not many people around me did that.
Yeah, if you're a parent, I mean, I don't hear parents very often, I mean at all, if not ever, say that they use the parental controls on their stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, really, really small children, but kids that are, you know, preteens getting in there, like they got their phone already. They got their iPhone. They got all of the social medias that they ever had, like that we ever could have. I don't have like any of these things anymore, but they are totally exposed to, like you said, I mean, fights, weird people being horrible to people. And then like the simping culture, making it so much easier to see women and men and all this stuff like half naked all the time. I mean, that is, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure my brothers and sisters have seen that, and that's kind of horrible, you know, because it's just like I don't want them to be exposed to any of that. Or if they are exposed to that stuff, I want to help them get to the good stuff too, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just all kind of weird, man.
It's like if they're exposed, because eventually you will be exposed to this. So that like as you get older, it does become there are some circumstances that may become a little bit more appropriate.
Right.
And at that point, maybe yes, you could, you know, look at this stuff in a more safe environment. But like at a certain age, you just like, this isn't a 10-year-old boy shouldn't be able to just easily lie about his age and get an OnlyFans with his parents' credit card, you know? Like there's no way that should be a thing. But I'm sure there are a bunch of little 10-year-olds that have subscriptions to this type of shit.
Oh,
yeah. Well, when I was in middle school, we had to create an email. And we were all under the age of like 13, and we all used a Yahoo email. And the teacher was like, the computer teacher was like, just say that you're born from this age, and then we'll get you an email. And it was like for instructive purposes, like how to write an email and stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, oh, I can lie about this. Well, you know,
what else can you lie about?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think to lie about is like, are there parental controls on stuff like Facebook? I know YouTube has like YouTube Kids, which is really weird. I've seen a couple commentary videos on what's on YouTube Kids, and it looks really weird.
Well, you know, some videos sneak into YouTube Kids. Even some of these harsh like stuff that kids should not be seeing, like we shouldn't be seeing.
Yeah, like Happy Tree Friends was on YouTube Kids.
Yeah, it's not foolproof. Like it's not all the way done.
Yeah, and so like there's no sort of like parental setting or anything, and like I think a challenge for the social media industry would be to set up like that'd probably be like the next gold mine, and whoever does this, I'm going to sue you for taking my idea of like a social media for kids as like a teaching tool, because I unfortunately do think we gotta it's not like expose the kids, but like show them like how to properly act, you know, online. Like we have like an etiquette course, you know, of how to interact with people, how to interact like over a meal and stuff. Like we can extend that to online, you know.
That's what I was just thinking, dude. Like the way you were talking about how online isn't necessarily the right, or it's not becoming the right social interactive. Like it's creating more conflict than actual the actual connectivity in actual social interactions. Yeah. And I would want the kid to be exposed to stuff like that, but it's not the right forum. I mean, I'm not a parent or anything, but I'm thinking as a parent, it's not, you don't want them to just be exposed to all this crap, because you're not going to be able to keep up with all the stuff that you should be talking about, you know, sitting them down and saying, hey, son, hey, you know, daughter, this is how life works. And, you know, some people that do this and some people that do that, this is how life works. It doesn't create that right social situation, you know?
Yeah. It's odd, you know. I feel like psychiatrists in the next 10 years are gonna have like they're gonna have like a gold mine to talk about the differences between social interaction and interpersonal intrapersonal. I don't insert big psychology word for face-to-face interaction. You know.
Hey, ask Emily real quick. No, I'm just kidding.
Get her real quick.
But no, to go off what you were saying though, Elijah, I think social media is something that is at this point has a lot of room to improve, but that doesn't mean that it's just gonna go away.
Oh, it's not gonna go away. It's never gonna
go. Yeah, exactly. So like incorporating those kind of like classes or bringing those into school and kind of creating that bit of structure could definitely help, because now you're teaching these kids like the more responsible portion of it. And like how to interpret information you get online, and obviously like there's going to be some like drawbacks with that, and I mean I don't think there's any right way to go about social media. Also, there's like no matter what you do, you're wrong in the internet's world.
It's like I don't.
One of the first schools, you know. Like, I'm like, it has to be the parents because I don't trust schools. Like, kids don't even know who the first president was nowadays. Like, kids don't know who Abraham Lincoln was. You know, like they're not teaching them the right stuff anyways. Dude. They wouldn't teach them how to act in a socially, networking world. That's just my opinion, though. That's my opinion.
No. Yes. See, I do believe it should. I feel like the teachers should be able to like kind of incorporate this into their curriculum. But yes, you're right. I think it's 100% on the parents as well.
I mean, we already have I went through several computer courses in middle school, high school, and in college. Like I think that there should, because it's all new and we're all sort of learning this on the fly. And we went from going from like a Call of Duty chat room to MySpace to, where we are right now. And it's all new. We've never done this before in history. And I think now that we have a collective sense of the past 10 years, like we can start taking metadata and all this stuff and start funneling it down and getting to the nitty gritty of what does this do to a person?
Yeah.
It's not just like, well, this is, how you're supposed to interact and stuff, but like, hey, these are, side effects that we could have, if you use social media as a platform, like, does your anxiety go up? Does your depression go up? Does your social skills go up?
I was about to say, like,
and they're starting to come out, but I don't feel like they're treated with the same respect as if like the New England Journal of Medicine or Johns Hopkins University puts out something. These are just like think tanks and non NGOs and stuff like that. Like I want to see like the American Psychological Association put out stuff. And they're just now doing this with video games about like how since the 90s they're like, oh, your kid plays GTA, is going to become a serial killer. And it has the exact opposite effect.
They always want to associate violent games with people that want to go shoot up stuff, and there's there's countless reports and research that they've done that is exact opposite. Like that has no effect on whether people, maybe they played Call of Duty one time. That doesn't mean that everyone who plays Call of Duty is gonna, shoot it.
They didn't skip the no Russian stage. Well, now they're gonna be a domestic terrorist. And it's not the case. And
their data would say like 1 out of 3 guys is going to shoot up a plate. Like, look at all 3 of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all play the same video games. None of us are extremely violent individuals.
Yeah, and so like I think now we should keep like build the momentum that's been happening in those sort of research areas and put that into social media. I think that now that we have a base, start testing us. Like we grew up with it. Like we were the first people to deal with it,
Exactly.
Like our parents didn't deal with it. Our older cousins and stuff didn't quite deal with it. It's like, I remember I was in high school. I think I was a sophomore, and I was trying to get with this girl, and she was like, you still have a MySpace? I was but sure people have a Facebook. And I got a Facebook that day. Yeah.
Peer pressure, dude.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Called out, dude. Called out.
That's toxic, bro.
It was embarrassing. Okay,
dude. Yeah, MySpace already like that incorporated some very manipulative behavior. Like that's how all of these nightmares for social media started. They destroyed MySpace. Poor little MySpace never got to be what it could have been. Yeah, but y'all remember like the top 8, like.
Your top friends, yeah.
I'm taking you off my top 8 friends because we never talk. Like how manipulative was that?
How
dude?
Savage was that rating your friends and family? and then you're constantly checking it too. So you're like, oh, still top 8. Ooh, still top 8. Yeah. I moved up to top 3. Okay, cool.
It's like that means she likes me. I'm in her top 40.
Right.
You did learn how to code for a little bit too.
Exactly. Like we turned into a bunch of hackers.
Oh, dang. Maybe we started this. Maybe we did this.
Well, no, it started with us. That's what I'm saying. I'm worried about people who can't get out of it, because I mean,
Yeah.
I moderate it. It's like we've been saying, it's good in moderation, and it's good for memes.
Yeah.
Occasionally, it's good for business occasionally, because the internet, you can get whatever
Like,
you
we
can
use
want,
those
which is awesome.
platforms ourselves to advertise the podcast, and thus, and now we're on YouTube, so like we're content creators,
Yeah, sure.
by a literal definition.
Mhm.
And I do think there are pros to social media,
Mhm.
but I think those do get outweighed by the cons.
Yeah.
It's like, do you think that this, like the way people interact with social networking and social media, is trickling into real life? The way
Yes.
that we kind of have an outrage, like you said, Chris, cool comment. All right, a troll comment that's like super pissed off, right? And then it escalates from there, and you can't communicate well, and there's no civil discourse, like Elijah's been saying, and there's kind of this outrage culture now where one thing is said, it's misconstrued. Let's not have a civil discourse. Let's take it to the next level. Everyone's getting canceled.
Well, things like cancel culture are a direct side effect of social media, like 100%.
Yeah.
We didn't have cancel
Yeah.
culture in the 70s, 60s, 80s.
Mhm.
Not
It's all
even
from
when
social media, man.
Like, yeah, this cancel culture became recent of the last 5 years, maybe.
I'll say fewer than that. I'd say like less 3.
Yeah, like
Those last 5. People like Shane Johnson would have been gone 5 years ago, but they weren't.
That's true. That's
Sure.
fair.
I don't know. Time's been going by crazy. I feel like it might be a 2010s thing, maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me.
Yeah,
I saw something that said we're a lot closer to 2030 than we are 2000 now.
don't.
Yeah.
So
Don't say
that's time definitely flies, and also we're closer to next year than we were last year, because we've been quarantined this whole year.
Oh
Finally,
yeah. Well, 2020 is like going by like freaking crazy. Jeez.
But no, I think that social media has just trickled into our daily life. Like that's 100% accurate. Just again, like I said, we're completely dependent on these comments that are made on posts that we say. Like, we can post about an achievement, and part of us is like we want to share it, but the other part, it's gotten to the point where we're just like, oh, let's see who comments, let's see who, like in high school, I'm sure like a guy would post something and they would see people comment, see people like, but they're always waiting for that one girl that comments and likes it. Like that's so dependent on just another person. Like it's social media now is almost like it is real life.
Yeah, and I think for stuff like Twitch, where you can stream just because they have an IRL section.
Yeah, in real life for the layman. In real life.
And like they have like these subgenres now that are taking over Twitch and other streaming platforms, and you can like that's what they do. Like, there's some good content, like they go to like a convention and they interact with people and stuff, and it's fine. But then there's like the thought culture that's out there. There's people that have really negative views. Yeah, and then people that
thought arcade culture, because that's a good culture.
Exactly, because we're here to think and process.
We're actually thinking. We're not thoughting or whatever. THOT.
Yeah.
And words.
Hey, question. When you spell like thoughting, is it double T or just one T? Like,
they're ruining
English
is weird already, man.
It's probably like a CH. You probably drop the 2 T's or something.
Whenever thought makes it into the dictionary, it'll be a sad day.
Yeah,
I think it already is.
Oh, dang it. Well,
like like maybe the acronym is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can't check anymore because not Wikipedia. Encyclopedia Britannica is only published online. It's not physical anymore.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, we can look then.
Okay.
We could. Yeah.
Reverting back to the conversation we had about, I mean, because there has been some research done in kind of this social networking era that have suggested that the use of social media, this dependency, and it's completely like being engulfed in it, is contributing to higher suicide rates, higher depression, higher anxiety. I mean, we are living in probably, I mean, I don't, whatever, look it up and see if I'm right about this, but I would say we're probably living in the highest anxiety, highest depression, and probably highest suicide rate of young people, right? I mean, ever, like mental illness is a thing that's been kind of going around, and the stigma is kind of dropping on it because it's such a normal thing now, it seems like.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between because it upsets me because there are like people on social media that are like, depression doesn't exist, like you're just sad, or like whenever Mike Scott and Dwight had that whole skit on the roof or whatever, it's like that, but they're translating it there, but I think I would say extreme forms of depression and anxiety are developing because of this, but I was mild.
Yeah.
Like mild anxiety of oh my God, this person did their 10-year plan from high school and I've done nothing,
Oh, and comparing yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I find myself creeping that way. And that's why I'm I need to check myself before I wreck myself,
Yeah, I think that social media exacerbates that. It's it exacerbates the whole image of what you're supposed to look like, and you're constantly comparing, each other. There's definitely a toxic ideas out there about how you should look, what you're supposed to look like, who you should be with, things like that. And social media definitely makes that elevated. It's crazy.
It's because it adds that whole the extremes.
Right.
So you're either extremely one way or extremely another way. So if you're not, if you're not extremely happy, then you're obviously extremely sad, sort of thing. And that's what that social media aspect adds to it, is that it makes it seem like it's just so outlandish and so out of this world that again, these comments can make you feel extremely happy to extremely sad. Back to what you're saying about these studies is, there have been a ton of studies. There have been, I can't say off the back of my head, but you can constantly see these reports come out about what social media does to the young, the anxiety, the depression, suicide that happens. And I think people do see that, but I think it's getting to the point where people are almost how when you're told something so much that it gets to the point, at first you'll listen and then it gets to the point where you're just I've heard this a million times, I'll just brush it aside.
Oh yeah, because nobody wants to get rid of their Snapchat and Instagram and all that stuff. I mean,
exactly. When it's so addictive, when it's become such an addiction, after a while they've been told about all these statistics and been given these reports. I think it's just gotten to the point where now everybody just completely disregards them, and it's if it does it, it does it. Then I want to go on social media.
Yeah.
I think the over comparing yourself to people, the disconnect from real life, the things that we're talking about here, I guess just the things that are missing when you have real life social interactions. I think that all contributes to how horribly you can live, if you're all you're looking for is people's likes, if you're looking at what somebody did and then comparing that to yourself and, oh, well, I need to show them what I ate for dinner today because I want to get some likes or something like that. Just the it disconnects you from real life, man. And I think that's if you're talking about mental health and stuff, that I don't know there are good things about looking into social media and online and stuff. You can find what you need there. It's just so easy and addicting to get caught in the negative stuff.
Exactly.
And that's where we have to change it, man.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy time.
To formulate my Facebook to be more about the groups and the the pages and stuff rather than with people or stuff like that, because that's where I find that social media is cool, because I recently joined a miniature schnauzer group, and we talked about okay, he's 5 months, he won't stop biting, how do I take care of it for a schnauzer in particular,
Yeah.
And then you get a bunch of answers and stuff like there are good things about social media, but it's like I'm finding myself not comparing myself to like, the big glamour of people and stuff, but like friends of mine that like I'm starting to become jealous of because they're like living a good life, or like a life that I would like,
And you start building that kind of like resentment, like it's like unintentional resentment.
Yeah,
like you don't necessarily want it, but it just happens.
Like these are really close people. Like I shouldn't feel that way about this, Like, and it's more negative toward myself than it is toward like, oh, I hate them because they're so cool. It's like, God dang, you suck, dude. It's more like that, and I'm finding myself getting that attitude more and more. And I just wonder about everybody else on there.
There's not any room online for the self-reflection of all this stuff, like instead of looking at all these other people and saying, oh dude, I'm happy for them and stuff like that. There's nothing there to help you get there, You're so engulfed in everything else. So you're not thinking, okay, like, what can I do to make myself feel better about the situation? You're so addicted. You're so in it. You're not thinking that far.
And then like, an hour goes by and you're still on there,
And then you're like moving on to the next thing. And your ADD kicks in and you're just like looking at videos of puppies and then looking at ads and looking at TikTok.
Or looking at recipe videos. Recipe videos on Facebook have gotten like top tier,
It's like
they're awesome. I love
you're putting a Band-Aid. You're putting a Band-Aid on those feelings with videos and with scrolling and with TikTok. It's just Band-Aids, dude.
I would say it's more close to like flex tape, but
it's a good hold.
It's a good hold cover, but the hole is still there, Yeah. But no, it's gotten to the point where like you're gonna see that video, you're gonna see that friend that's doing well, you're gonna come at yourself for not doing that well, but what exactly are you doing in that moment to help you progress?
Exactly.
30 minutes later you're watching a dog video, a dog falling downstairs. I don't know.
That's
like
cool.
You're like, that's fine, that's cool, but like that's not gonna help you get to the point where you want to be while like you're over here looking at another person jealous.
Like it's taking my initiative to go do something away, and that's what I find really annoying. And another thing I find really annoying real quickly is how are dead people verified on social media? Like I was scrolling through like these suggestions for books, and there was a Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor,
Nice.
He has a blue check mark.
Nice.
And I click on it, and it's like Marcus Aurelius Meditations.
What
and
does blue checkmark verified even mean though? Like you existed in
that's what I don't exactly.
At least existed once.
You're dead.
In time. That's rough.
Like I don't know. It's weird. Like at that point, shouldn't we just all have blue checks?
Roosevelt, and he had a check mark, and I was like, "What?"
Fair enough.
Dude, there was this Helen Keller Facebook page that had a blue check mark. But the thing is it wasn't even like a good Helen Keller page. Like it was a troll Helen Keller page.
Dude.
It had a check mark. Like it would say random. Yeah, it would say random things.
They would post a picture of something and it would just be black. Like a black. I know that one, dude. That's so, the social media, dude. You need to calm down. Speaking of blue check marks and being like actually a person and stuff, have y'all dealt with like a catfishing situation? You're talking about people like making up fake accounts and stuff like that.
Oh, dude, I'm seeing that lately where like they're like, I saw one for Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and they misspelled Johnson, and there's no Rock, and they put it on like the Schnauz page I was looking at, and I commented, I was like, it's a scam, right? Like that's not Dwayne Johnson. Like he like took a live feed from him from like years ago and placed it. He's like the first people to comment, have a great day. I'm going to give them $9,000 helping people to quarantine. I've seen that for like multiple people
with the Donald Trump voice.
Dude, there's some people will make those like fake fake Facebook profiles of just a random girl, and the picture they'll use is like of this super attractive girl, and like they'll add you as a friend. You'll go to their page, and it's only like 8 people.
Yeah.
But I always see that one person that I knew like back in the day, like friends with them, and I was like, this makes sense. I get this.
Dude, I've totally gone through it. I mean, and I think it's just another layer onto the emotional mental health situation we're talking about. These people steal pictures from whatever girl that they think's pretty and stuff like that, and then they make profiles. And I've dealt with that. Like, I was this girl, I think I've met her through MySpace, like New Jersey or something like that. I don't know where she was from. I don't even know if that was real. Why am I saying that? She had pictures and stuff, and then we ended up Skyping, but she would have her video cut off. And so there's a couple of times, she's scared to whatever, right? Scared to show herself or something. I don't know. She thinks she's ugly or something like that, right? So it was just kind of like a cool little thing, just catching up every now and then. And then eventually I was just like, why don't you ever like show yourself, like what is the deal with that? Like, we're cool. We talk, and, we talk about music and stuff like that. What's the deal? And she never did it. Like, she never wanted to show herself. So I was just like, all right, whatever. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, you're weird. You're obviously not who you say you are.
At least you didn't give her money, dude. That TV show Catfish, that TV show is ridiculous, because then you'll see these like
that's like actually negligent.
Yeah, this guy will just send a girl money, and you're just like, dude, you didn't see the red flag? Like, you didn't see the first 10 red flags? Like, I don't know.
People want attention, but some people are just horrible people.
Yeah, I don't know. Catfishing is a whole different just monster in itself.
How are dead people verified? I just can't get over that.
He's going back to that.
But one thing I do like about social media was there's this Twitter, like, this guy tweeted in Toronto about this dead raccoon, and he's like, hey, whoever government body needs to pick it up, and they're like, oh, we're gonna get to it or whatever. And then he tweeted at it like later on in the day. It's like, it's been 5 hours or whatever, and then people started finding out where it was and started making a memorial. Like, they put little flowers and stuff. Yeah. And then they put a little picture of a raccoon family, next to it and stuff, and telling this whole story. And the guy kept okay, come pick it up. Really, it's been 2 days or whatever. And it's this huge memorial to this dead raccoon. And they pick it up and stuff eventually. And then the last tweet was it said Raccoon of Toronto, and it's a picture of the dead body with all the memorial stuff. And it's like, I hate you, Gary. I had a good memorial going. I was just like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. That's what I appreciate about social media.
Yeah, it can be fun. It can be fun. But I think the point of this is good in moderation. You gotta find what you need elsewhere and use it for what it's needed for there. What my ending note here is that I found that it was kind of a conversation killer being on Facebook and all this stuff so much, because you end up knowing so much of people's lives. Like, you know what they did last week, what they did this last weekend, what they did on their birthday. And when you see them, it's just there's no catching up to do, there's no, what are you going to talk about? You already know the answers to everything because they post it all on the same. And then too much, too much of their personal ideas that you're just I don't know if I want to offend them with my ideas. I don't know. And then also, who wants, I don't know. I've tried to really work on not being on the phone with company. That's really, I feel like that's a really tough thing for people to do nowadays, is to actually enjoy people's company and forget about phones and stuff like that.
Yeah. Whatever happened to good old fashioned game nights? You just throw your phone. Remember when we played that one drawing game?
Yeah. I mean,
no one was on their phone. We were all just hanging out, just playing that. I tried to draw a giraffe and I couldn't.
The Thought Arcade headquarters has always been an advocate of game night and all that good stuff. We took care of that. You know what I'm saying?
We have a specific sign for our wedding about, get the off your phone. like if you're on your phone and you're not watching me with all the money that I spent on this thing, you're dead to me.
Yeah.
How annoyed would you be if my phone went off and I'm just like, hey, wait, hold on, guys, and then I just answer it
in the wedding party? I mean, as best man, I would actually have to escort you out of the property.
Exactly.
So don't make me do that, bro.
Can you pause real quick? Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. No. Invest in the other stock. Oh, my broker, guys. My broker.
Yeah. I'm not. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me if it's over 20 million.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
and like it's like I was talking to the guys right before we started recording, and I was like, if like they're on their phones and stuff just chilling, but they're not dancing. Like we have a bunch of yard games that are gonna be set up. Like the whole point is to party and enter like as I call mingle and dingle, you know.
Ooh.
But like social media is gonna destroy it. You know,
like you're right. Like it's more fun for them to be scrolling and figuring out that than to figure out how to have fun in real life. Like, all right, if you don't like dancing, let's go talk to somebody. Go to the photo booth. Go make somebody know. Go
to a bar. Like we have the bar. Go to the bar.
Yeah,
we'll have a bunch of activities like cornhole and yard games. Like go do that stuff.
You guys believe I'm gonna be on that cornhole set, dude.
100%. Go find cornhole. Like, let's find more stuff to do in real life. IRL, but in IRL. You know what I'm saying?
And don't stream it either. Just live in the moment.
It. Don't have a selfie stick, even though selfie sticks are fun.
We say that Elijah's mom is just going to be there, like live streaming the wedding.
She's going to create a Twitch just for the wedding.
Well, I mean, we are going to have one set up, so.
Hey, I mean, we're going to do a Thought Arcade, right? Like,
absolutely.
We're going
to we're going to do an episode. Dude, we should do an episode in the groomsmen.
Oh, 100%.
Dude. That would be fun,
great idea, dude. That's a great idea.
100%.
Cool. Well, it's time for the updates portion. We're going to fill you in on all the stuff going in our lives right now. Of course, there's a bunch of riots and crap. That's just a given. That's just been happening. But there was news that came out that Kim Jong-un might have been in a coma. I don't know if it's true, but that would have been freaking awesome if it was.
That's the second time this year where South Korea has reported that he's in a coma, but North Korea, I guess they have a Twitter or something like that. Maybe. They put out like a picture of him like eating food or something, but I'm pretty sure it's a week in that Bernie situation. You know,
let's just hope that that's true though.
But I'm all for more female dictators. You know, equal representation in the dictator realm. You know?
I heard his sister was worse, dude. I heard
she's
his
the
sister
same.
Was scarier.
Oh
she's
God,
exactly the same. Like they're both trash, but
to be honest, I don't even think Kim Jong-un is real at this point. Like after all these rumors, like I don't even think he was a real person. Like it's just like a little puppet. Someone is like hidden behind the wall with like the little puppet sticks or whatever, like waving.
Yeah. Somebody told my wife Emily the other day that I think it's Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un. They both look like they both look like roly polies. That's what he just told her that the other day. Which
like
is
they're the only ones that are at their true weight scale, while everyone else is starving to death.
Yeah.
You know the kid on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the one that can't stop eating the chocolate river.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
That's
like the first. Right? That's him with the rice.
Perfectly plump, round blueberry people. Yeah. All right, so bigger news. Elijah was just hit by a hurricane. Tell us about what's going on over there, man.
I'm in Baton Rouge, so luckily the hurricane kept moving to the west and it hit like the Red River Delta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been getting hard, man.
Yeah, so
crazy.
Shout out to them for going through that. And I got to try to figure out a way because I know the guy who's doing our wedding is like he had to evacuate, so I might try to figure out how to help him out. But for us, like here in Baton Rouge, like it wasn't too bad. Like I bought a bunch of supplies the other day, like 2 weeks ago, because everyone and their mom was texting me to do it, and
including us.
Yeah. And so I'm at Walmart and I'm checking out, and this guy like in front of me, I don't know, he's buying like Hennessy or something like that, and and then I go up and I start putting my stuff. And it's a bunch of canned food, flashlights, first aid kit, blah blah blah. And this lady, this like the kindest Walmart cashier on the planet. Shout out to this lady. She's like, he knows what he's doing. He's buying supplies for these hurricanes. We got 2 of them coming this way. 2 of them coming this way. And I was like, I'm from the Gulf Coast and from South Carolina. You know, like I've been through this before. I know what to do.
Right.
But like we haven't had too much. Yeah, like we haven't had too much. So it's just been raining a lot.
That's good.
But luckily, Odin is a brave little dog and doesn't mind thunder and stuff like that. So, but we're good. We're good.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a lot of rain that was going to come through College Station because Houston is not too far from here, and a bunch of the counties in between Houston and College Station were going to get.
It's like it's made landfall like around the Lake Charles, Louisiana, like more towards the Louisiana side. But like those places don't do well with flooding because it's basically sea level, you know,
or under too. Sometimes.
Yeah, like New Orleans and Baton Rouge and stuff. Like we're under sea level, you know.
Yeah. Well, but, you know, thoughts and prayers go out to those people in East Texas and Louisiana, Lake Charles. I'm glad you're safe. Obviously, that's a big win there. Recently, the DC Fandom happened. Just a quick update. They pulled in like 22 million views at one point.
Wow.
In the thing, and then collecting other kinds of viewership elsewhere, as well as their videos that they're posted online of these trailers and things like that. Millions, like 100-something millions of views. So they did it.
I always feel like DC is second place to Marvel, but the more like stuff like this happens, the more I realize like Marvel's probably just fake generic stuff. Like like fake fans, you know, like I'll call myself a fake Marvel fan, you know, like I like Iron Man and like a little bit of other stuff. That's it. But like DC fans are true. Like they're true.
It's tough being a DC fan sometimes, but you know,
this flack, but you're still, you know, y'all are like the most loyal people on the planet at this point.
I can't wait to get the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and then the what is it? That Arkham Knights game or Gotham Knights, because Marvel Avengers comes out in a week, and I would really love to. And I'm definitely getting Marvel Avengers, but I would definitely love to see the two, like the gameplays versus like comparison to each other. So that'd be kind of cool to see, like just have like just beating the shit out of people with Robin, and then like beating people up with the Hulk, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, for sure. And I think because this was such a big move, I think they kind of set a standard, and you know, maybe Marvel that will have their own online commit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it brought more people than a Comic-Con, like a San Diego Comic-Con would, or it shed more light onto all this stuff than, you know, an actual Comic-Con event would. So I think that actually sets a precedent, and other comic things are going to make it happen on their own. You know, who knows? We'll see a Marvel fandom thing. You know, you actually mentioned a game there. The Black Ops Cold War thing came out.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
And it looks like they're that. Yeah, and I saw the trailer. Yeah, and it looks like they're gonna bring back like a decent campaign to Call of Duty, which
they got Ronald Reagan in there.
I know. Like that was crazy.
Ronald Reagan's dead.
Is he verified on Twitter? Like
I was about to ask that. Is he verified?
Yeah. How did they get that? I mean, exactly.
The technology today is crazy. But yeah, it's the first time in a long time I'm excited for a Call of Duty game.
I'm intrigued. Yeah, I'm intrigued for the story for sure. Especially the Black Ops. I haven't ventured into the Black Ops too much. Just every now and then, zombies.
The first one, it was good, and they kind of just got crazy.
The first Black Ops was really fun. I think that was the last Call of Duty I played though. But seeing this one, I'm just like, this will be the first person shooter. Like I'll try to get back into because it looks good. Like and I'm hoping zombies too. Zombies was fun.
Yeah, they announced they are going to bring back zombies already. Yeah. So
Tenet, Christopher Nolan's new film, is like releasing a bunch of little like behind the scenes footage stuff, and it's sucking me in, dude. I want to go see this movie in the theater like right now. Tom Cruise actually went. He posted that he went and that he thought it was awesome. He went to the theater. Everyone's kind of like promoting this thing, getting back into the theater. And they were showing behind the scenes of how they filmed this thing, and it's just like mind blowing. I want to see this thing already. I don't know about you guys.
Hey, my little brother saw it and he just left, so he could have made a little cameo, tell us what he thought about it. But yeah, man, I want to see it so bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that happen pretty soon.
Yeah, there are drive-ins. There are nice drive-ins that you can probably find. Social distance.
I like drive-ins. I've been to some. There's one drive-in in Texas that I know of, and it's all the way out in Midland, and I went. It was fun. Let me watch.
There's one in Austin, like Starlight.
Mm-hmm.
I think something like that.
But they show more classic films and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
we watched.
They're not associated with films. Yeah, they're not associated with like new releases and stuff like that. But oh my gosh, imagine if you're running that kind of business right now, and you're like, oh, okay, let me get with whoever I need to get with to film these new movies right now, and we can be in all the cars and a social distance and all that crap. Oh man,
they're having drive-in comedy shows. Bert Kreischer, The Machine, that story about the machine that went viral about his trip in Russia when he was in college. He did a drive-in comedy show, and apparently it killed. Like it did well.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Have you ever seen those concerts that have like the little wrestling match setups? You know, they have like 4 chairs per like ring, and they're like set up throughout. You haven't seen those?
Mm-mm. That might be an actual wrestling match.
Yeah.
No, it was. It was a concert, and they were all set up. And it was like someone tweeted, like, I waited my whole life to finally sit down at a concert.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, just go to a stadium then.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's true.
So, Chris, you said you had an update for us, dude.
Yes. Okay. So this is a bit interesting because this isn't something that I had originally thought I'd ever do.
Uh-oh.
But tomorrow I am going to an MMA gym, and I'm going to start training as if I was an MMA fighter.
What? That's crazy.
Yes.
Nice.
It's this gym that I found here in College Station. It's like Brazos Valley MMA.
Yeah.
Derek Lewis is a UFC fighter. He's a heavyweight, top 5 heavyweights in the UFC. Mm-hmm. He trains at this gym, so that's how I heard about it because my little brother told me about it. So I looked it up, and I was like, they'll give me a free week of classes to just try him out. Contacted the guy. He was like, dude, just come by this Friday, after you get off work. So I'm gonna head there tomorrow, get that sorted out, and I'm gonna start training like an amateur fighter and then see what's going on, dude.
Really cool, man.
Grab behind the neck,
what's up?
Grab behind the neck, pull him down, use your knee. Dead. Dead.
Yeah,
exactly.
My little brother was my little brother was telling me he'll be in my corner when I make it big in the UFC. So
well, that's cool, man. Good for you trying new stuff out, and that's gonna make you extremely fit and flexible and all that crap. That's gonna hurt, dude. Good,
dude. I've heard some of those guys are like super disciplined, so that's I'm doing it more so for like the training and like the discipline and the determination. But also, if I happen to like get like an amateur fight, like if I'm competing in an amateur fight, I'll do it. Or if I'm given the option, I might do it.
Yeah, and
then try it out.
If that guy at Walmart looks at you funny, just
also, self-defense, man. It's a crazy time.
There you go. Yeah, exactly, man. Well, don't forget about the self-defense.
Yeah, but yeah, that was my update. So I was excited about that. But anyways, that's been another episode of the Thought Arcade. I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely go follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram.
Follow us on all the social medias that we just bashed.
Bashed, yeah. Listen to us in moderation and don't come at us with like your, not for emotional support, but
to take it even one step further, listen to everybody else in moderation. Listen to us daily.
Exactly.
There you know what we're talking about.
Good call.
But definitely stay tuned for our next episode. We are going to talk about the gaming industry and how fed up. Well, I'm going to be mentioning how fed up I am with it. I don't know about you guys, but it'll be a pretty fun one since we all love video games. But thank you guys for listening, and that's been another episode of the Thought Arcade.
Bye.